They expected just another polished royal interview, predictable, respectful, possibly even boring. But when Prince Harry sat opposite Savannah Guthrie in the bright, humming studio of the Today Show, what unfolded was anything but. From the moment he entered, early and sharply dressed, there was a tension in the air that no one could quite name. The technicians adjusted lights with extra care. Producers whispered faster, lower. Savannah flipped through her cards with deliberate calm. Prince Harry, flanked by a quiet but watchful security team and an anxious young PR handler armed with a clipboard and Bluetooth headset, moved like a man who didn't quite want to be there. He nodded along as she quietly reminded him of approved talking points. But his eyes roamed the studio with thinly veiled caution. There was a stiffness in his movements. This wasn't London, this was American television. And here, the control belonged to no one. Savannah stood to greet him, composed and warm. "Good morning, Your Royal Highness," she said, and Harry, offering a clipped nod, replied, "Just Harry's fine." She caught the subtext immediately. Don't lean on the title, don't reference the crown. "Of course," she said, gesturing to the chairs. The cameras rolled. "Welcome to the Today Show," Savannah began. "It's a pleasure to have you." "Thank you," Harry replied, the smile tight but practiced. The opening minutes flowed easily. He spoke with clear enthusiasm about his new mental health initiative for veterans, dropping names of nonprofit partners, referencing his duty beyond the uniform. It was polished, rehearsed, safe. Viewers watching across the country likely nodded along. Then Savannah leaned in slightly. "You've often emphasized privacy," she began carefully, "especially for your family, your children, but you've also shared deeply personal family moments through interviews, books, a Netflix series. How do you draw the line between privacy and publicity?" The mood shifted almost imperceptibly. Harry's smile froze. "It's about context," he said. "When lies are told about you constantly, you have a right, no, an obligation, to correct the narrative, especially when it involves your family." Savannah nodded, but didn't let go. Correcting the narrative often means exposing private conversations. Your father, your brother, even your grandmother. These weren't part of public discourse until you brought them forward. Harry's expression cooled. "That's an unfair way to put it." Savannah remained neutral. "It's just a question. A lot of people are wondering where that boundary really is." Harry chuckled, but it wasn't warm. "Look, I didn't come here to be grilled. I came here to talk about the good work my project is doing." "Of course," Savannah said, staying composed, "and we'll come back to that. But as you've said yourself, the public narrative matters." Another shift in mood. She pivoted. "You've said stepping back from royal duties was one of the hardest decisions of your life. Do you ever miss that world?" Harry's posture stiffened. "I miss the service, not the institution." "And your family?" she asked gently. "Do you miss them?" A pause. "We're focusing on healing privately." Savannah caught the dodge. She didn't press it yet. Instead, she tried to reset the tone. "Fair enough. Let's shift gears a bit. Megan." Harry's eyes snapped to hers. "Let's not." Savannah blinked. "Sorry, I was just going to ask how she's doing." "She's fine," Harry said, tone sharp. "But again, this is about me, not her." In the control room, lights dimmed slightly for a commercial cue. Savannah didn't flinch. "Of course, but many of our viewers are curious about how the two of you navigate this public life together. You're partners in many ways." "We navigate it privately," he cut in, voice tight. "The way families should." Savannah let the tension hang, then picked up another card. "Let's talk legacy. You've often said you want to build something meaningful beyond tradition, but some critics argue that without the royal platform, your reach wouldn't be what it is now. That distancing from the crown while still leveraging its visibility creates a contradiction. How do you respond?" This time, Harry's composure cracked, just slightly, but enough. "Are we really going there?" he muttered under his breath, but the boom mic caught it. Savannah's smile held. "It's a fair question. A lot of people are asking." Harry leaned back, trying to appear relaxed, but his fingers tapped out a rhythm on the armrest. "I've earned everything I've done outside the institution," he said. "I'm not cashing in on my family name. I'm surviving without it." Savannah nodded. "Surviving, but still using the titles. The Duke of Sussex appears on your book cover, in documentary credits, promotional materials." Harry's expression sharpened. "That's who I am." Savannah softened. "But is it who you want to be, or who you need to be to stay relevant?" He leaned forward now, looked into the camera briefly, then back at her. "I don't need relevance. I need truth." Savannah raised a brow slightly, and yet, here you are again. Silence. Even the crew behind the glass felt it. Something was building. Harry hadn't exploded, but the strain showed in his eyes, his jaw, his fists clenched too tightly in his lap. Savannah Guthrie wasn't backing down, and the commercial break, when it came, could not have arrived at a more crucial moment. Inside the studio, the buzz quieted to an eerie hum. Harry leaned back, jaw set. His PR handler appeared instantly, whispering urgently in his ear. He waved her off, eyes locked somewhere past the cameras. Savannah remained seated, sipping from her mug, as if nothing at all was amiss. She'd covered war zones, presidents, crises. A royal discomfort wasn't going to shake her. As the countdown to resume rolled, 4, 3, 2, both of them knew they were stepping back into a moment neither could control. When they returned from the break, the air in the studio hadn't softened. If anything, it had tightened. Prince Harry straightened in his chair, brushing a crease from his jacket sleeve, a small action that betrayed the tension running up his arms. Savannah Guthrie, ever poised, gave no indication she noticed, but she had. Of course she had. "We're back with Prince Harry," she said lightly, turning to the camera. "You've been speaking about truth, how important it is to you, but truth is often subjective, especially when family is involved. Everyone has their version." Harry didn't hesitate, which is why it's important to speak from experience, from facts, not headlines, not the spin. Savannah tilted her head. "But when your facts hurt others, when those experiences paint your family in an unflattering light, do you pause before sharing them?" Harry looked at her for a long moment. "I paused for 36 years. There was a beat of silence. She let it linger. And now? Now I protect my family, my real family, my wife, my children." Savannah's voice dropped just slightly. "And the family you were born into?" Another pause. Harry's jaw shifted. "That's more complicated." She nodded. "I want to ask about your memoir. You wrote about deeply personal moments, your time in the military, your loss, your relationships. You even shared that you once believed your mother might still be alive, in hiding. That detail moved a lot of people." Harry's eyes softened, if only slightly. "I shared it because it was real. That's how trauma works. It plays tricks on your reality. It creates hope in places where there is none. I think more people understood that than I expected." Savannah let the moment breathe. Then, "But trauma also clouds perspective. And when it comes to your family, some argue that perspective might have colored what you've shared." Harry bristled. "Some argue from a distance, from tabloids, from gossip. Some argue from inside the palace," Savannah said quietly. "Former staff, advisors, friends of the family." Harry sat back, lips pressed thin. "Those people are loyal to the institution, not to the individuals. There's a difference." "So you don't believe any of their accounts?" He looked at her, calm again, but distant. "I believe what I lived, what I saw, what I felt." Savannah glanced at a card, then back to him. "You wrote about a physical altercation with your brother. You described him as your beloved arch-nemesis. You wrote that he grabbed you, pushed you, that you fell, hit a dog bowl, that there were shards in your back, that Meghan was horrified. You shared that publicly. Was that healing or retaliation?" Harry looked directly at her. "It was truth." "Was it necessary?" He hesitated, just for a second. "It was part of the story." Savannah leaned forward just slightly. "When you say the story, do you see your life as a narrative? Something unfolding for the world to read? Or is it something private meant only for the people living it?" "Both," Harry said. "Unfortunately." There was a quiet moment. He looked down briefly, hands clasped between his knees, then back at her. "You don't choose this life. Not the way I was born into it, but you can choose what to do with it." "And you've chosen to speak," she said. "Yes," he said simply, "but have you chosen to listen?" The question landed with weight. Harry didn't respond right away. "I've listened my whole life," he finally said, "to everyone but myself." Savannah shifted gears. "You've mentioned forgiveness in past interviews. You said you hope to reconcile with your father, with your brother. Is that still something you want?" "I want peace," he said. "That's not the same as reconciliation," Harry exhaled. "Reconciliation requires both sides to show up." "And they haven't?" He shook his head slightly. "Not in the way that matters." "Would you go back?" she asked. "To the UK?" "To the institution." He gave her a long look. "No." "Not under any circumstances?" "No," he said again, more firmly. "That chapter's closed." Savannah nodded. "Then what's next?" Harry leaned forward now, his voice taking on more certainty. impact, service, advocacy. I'm building something with purpose, not protocol. I want my children to grow up knowing their worth isn't tied to their last name. Do you worry they'll resent being cut off from that history? They'll understand it in time, and I'll be honest with them, that's more than I got. There was a stillness then, a weight behind the words that didn't need explaining. For a moment, even Savannah seemed to pause, not out of professionalism, but respect. Then, let's talk about America. You've made a home here. Do you feel American yet? Harry smirked slightly. I feel free. But freedom comes with trade-offs. No royal security, no titles for the kids, constant scrutiny. I'm fine with scrutiny, he said, as long as it's honest. Savannah raised a brow. And is it? Harry didn't blink. Rarely. She glanced at her notes. Your critics say you want to have it both ways. To reject the crown but keep the perks. To denounce the media but still use it. Harry shook his head. That's projection. I want to use the media responsibly. I want to redefine what celebrity and service can mean together. Savannah sat back slightly. That's a tall order. I know, he said, but I've lived through what happens when you don't try. As the next commercial break approached, the tension between them softened, not with resolution, but with recognition. Savannah gave a small smile. Still no regrets. Harry smiled back, finally. Only that I didn't speak sooner. The camera panned wide as the lights dimmed again. In the control room, a producer exhaled audibly. It wasn't the interview they'd expected. It was sharper, messier, realer. But that perhaps was the point. After the break, the atmosphere had changed. Slightly. Still taut, still deliberate, but something had settled in Harry's posture. He no longer seemed to brace himself with each question. There was a quiet resolve there now, the kind that comes when you know the storm is behind you, even if the clouds haven't fully cleared. Savannah Guthrie returned to the conversation with a gentler tone. Let's talk about fatherhood. You've described becoming a father as transformative. How has it changed the way you see your own childhood? Harry smiled, a bit distant but genuine. It's changed everything. It's made me reflect on things I buried for years. How I was raised, what I missed, what I needed. And what you didn't get? Harry nodded. Yes, I didn't get emotional openness. I didn't get the safety to express vulnerability. That wasn't part of the royal framework. Savannah glanced at him. Do you think your father did the best he could? He exhaled slowly. I believe he did what he thought was right, but that doesn't mean it was enough. There was a long pause, unhurried. And what about your brother? She asked. Harry's eyes flickered. He's part of the system. He was born into it the same way I was, but unlike me, he accepted it fully. Or maybe it accepted him. I don't know. Some people see your relationship as a Shakespearean rift, Savannah said. Two brothers on opposite sides of a legacy. Harry gave a tired smile. It's not that poetic. Pain rarely is, she added. He nodded. Do you miss him? Harry hesitated. Then, I miss the boy I grew up with. I miss when it was just the two of us, before everything became performance. Savannah said, do you think he would ever sit down with you and have this kind of conversation? I don't know. I'd like to think so. But I'm not holding my breath. She moved on, her voice still measured. You've said your mother would be proud of you, that she would understand your choices. She would. You're sure? Harry's voice was steady. She raised us to think for ourselves, to challenge authority. She didn't survive the system, but she warned us about it. She wanted something different. Do you feel like you're living that something different? I do, he said, but it's not without cost. They sat in that truth for a moment. Savannah leaned in again. Let's talk about the public response. Your book, your interviews, your documentary with Meghan, some people saw those as brave, some saw them as self-serving. I'm aware, Harry said. Does it bother you? He tilted his head slightly. Not anymore, because I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for my family and for people who felt silenced, shamed, erased. Do you feel erased? I felt erased for years, Harry replied. I felt like a spare, a backup, not just by the press, but within the family dynamic. That's a painful role to live. Savannah raised a brow. But wasn't that your nickname? The spare? It was. And for a long time, I wore it like armor until I realized it wasn't protection. It was confinement. She paused. You've said that writing the book was an act of liberation, but was it also an act of confrontation? Harry shook his head slowly. It was an act of clarity. There's a difference. Still, it angered many people. I can't control how people react to the truth. You can control how you deliver it. I delivered it the only way I knew how, with honesty. There was silence again, and then Savannah pivoted. You've also spoken about therapy, about the process of healing. Was there a moment when you realized you needed help? Yes, Harry said. After returning from Afghanistan, I had all this unprocessed trauma, not just from war, but from my mother's death, from my childhood. I started therapy late, but it changed everything. And now, I still go. Mental health isn't a destination, it's a practice. Savannah nodded. You and Megan have built a platform around that. Mental wellness, vulnerability. Do you think the public understands that mission? Some do, some mock it. Does that discourage you? Number 8 confirms how much work there is to do. They sat for a beat before Savannah returned to the royal question one more time. There are people who believe you should have handled all of this privately, that airing it publicly through books, interviews, streaming deals is a betrayal. Harry's face grew still. Privacy is not silence. We never asked to disappear. We asked to be treated with dignity, to be able to speak without being attacked. But isn't there a difference between speaking and broadcasting? There is, and we've tried to be intentional, but the truth is, no one would have listened if we didn't speak loudly. She let the comment hang. You were once one of the most popular royals. Now, you're often criticized, sometimes ridiculed. Does that shift affect you? Harry's smile was faint. I didn't lose popularity. I lost favor with the institution. That's a different thing. You once said that Meghan saved you. She did. Do you feel the same now? Absolutely, Harry said without hesitation. She showed me another way, a life beyond duty, a life with heart. Savannah glanced down. Some say you lost everything for her. I say I gained everything with her. They were quiet again. And your children? She asked. My reason for all of it, he said. Savannah looked at him carefully. Do you think they'll grow up and read everything you've said, everything you've written? I hope so. And if they ask, why? What will you say? Harry didn't blink. Because I loved you enough to tell the truth. That answer landed with weight. No need to dress it up. No need to defend it. Just truth. If you like this video, then subscribe.